Hi there, my name is Toby and today I want to talk about Maxwell Chikumbutso, who is an African inventor. If you haven't heard of him, just put the name in YouTube, there's loads of videos about him. So he's an African inventor in Zimbabwe who has apparently invented free energy, a free energy device, generator. And it's quite a big deal. He's received recognition from the Zimbabwe government. He's had offers of investment in the millions from America, which he declined. He's been in America. He tried to patent this technology in America, but they refused him because they said it does not follow the laws of physics, so you can't have the patent. And also he was poisoned. Him and his partner were both poisoned, and his partner did not survive, but he did. So serious threats he's been undergoing. And all of that makes it sound like, okay, there's something real going on here. But of course, a lot of people criticizing him, saying it can't be true, it's not true, it's just a scam, because he has not told us. Well, of course he's not going to tell us how it works. It's still a secret. But I would still argue that if we develop free energy, we should just tell it. We have to open source it so that we can all see how it works and all get on and build this. But I can understand that he wants to keep it for his country, Africa. And why not? If Africa becomes the first country to release a free energy generator, then they will become the leaders, the world leaders in global technology. That would change the world. And why not? Why not Africa? But again, he hasn't told us how it works, so I want to tell you today how I think it might work. Because if you understand Tesla's physics, then this would be very similar. Very similar. Now, he calls his technology microsonic. But of course, he has not explained it. But microsonic gives us some clues. Micro means very small. Sonic means sound. So there's some sort of vibration going on. And it's a small unit. You can build this unit any size. Again, this goes with Tesla's physics as well. You could have any size free energy generators or collectors. And I'll come to how they might work in a minute. And the first one he did was a television. So he put a device on a television so it was powered wirelessly just by his little device. And now he's done a car. So again, he's demonstrated a free energy car. I think he's done a helicopter. But he's also designed a generator, a massive 5 megawatt generator, free energy generator. And that would cost only $1 million to build it. So for just $1 million, you've got a 5 megawatt free energy generator. Now this goes a lot with Tesla. It was exactly what Tesla was trying to do. One of Tesla's last projects was to develop a free energy machine for a household. And Tesla's free energy machine would have been about $500, and then any household can have it and you got free energy. That's it, done. But of course that never happened. But this is the Holy Grail. That's what we're all trying to do. That's what Maxwell Chikumbutso has apparently done. And what's interesting to me is that he's religious. He believes in God. He dreams these ideas. The ideas come to him in visions. God speaks to him. And it goes together with what I'm saying, this ether physics. I talk about the ether. The ether would explain this. Again, let's assume we don't know if it's real or not, so I'm not making that judgment. I'm just going to tell you how I think it might work. But interestingly, Tesla, it had the same thing. Tesla was also a bit of a shaman. He had experiences. He thought there were beings in the electricity. He was talking to extraterrestrials. He picked up signals. So again, at this point in Tesla's life, he was being dismissed as crazy now. But it means at the higher level of technology, it becomes spiritual. That's a very important concept to understand. It's the ether physics is holistic. It's to do with consciousness, the soul, the spirit. Because the soul, spirit, consciousness is the underlying energy in the universe. And the higher up you go in technology, the closer you are reaching towards consciousness itself. And again, the same with alien technology. That's why alien technology is mysterious. There's consciousness involved, internal experiences. And all alien encounters have got this sort of dreamlike quality. A lot of them are just etheric experiences. And there's been many people that have had visions, messages from extraterrestrials, how to build technology. Again, there was another guy who had visions from aliens how to build a structure, and he built it somewhere in America in the desert. It's like a circular building, and in that building it's got incredible acoustics. I can't remember what it's called, but you can find it again on YouTube if you search for it. And he built this whole building with detailed plans given to him by extraterrestrials. Now, sadly, I think he never fully finished it, so it's not completely functional. But you can see, again, in there, the magnificent acoustics. And everyone who goes in there has powerful experiences in meditation. Again, higher technology is to do with your soul spirit, inner experiences. There's a crossover between technology and meditation. Consciousness. That's the first thing to notice. So that again leads me to believe it's very likely true, because Maxwell Chikumbutso has had dreams, experiences that gave him these ideas. But how could it possibly work? How could it possibly work? Now, what he says, Maxwell says, is that it picks up ambient radio waves. Picks up the energy from the radio waves. So there are plenty of radio waves around now. We're broadcasting them. But there's background radiation in the universe. There's radiation everywhere. And in fact, they used to do this. 100 years ago, you could do this. And it was illegal. What you would do is in the roof of your barn or your house, you could put a big coil of wire round and round, a big resonant coil of wire. And this would pick up the ambient radio waves enough to pick up a certain amount of power. So you could power, I don't know, a small amount of electricity in your barn, in your house, by stealing the ambient energy from radio waves. So it's a real thing that they could do, and you could still do, but it's not much energy. That's the biggest argument against it. There's not much energy in radio waves for you to pick it up. But he says he has amplified it. Now, if you amplify energy, well, that implies you need more energy. Some input of energy has got to be there to make an amplification. Therefore, it can't be free energy. But I think he's just explaining it like that because either he himself can't quite explain it, or he's trying to keep it secret. And this goes together with Tesla's physics. Now, Tesla is very interesting. Tesla is undeniably clever. So many books, so many patents. Modern science recognizes Tesla. They've named a unit, I think, of magnetic flux after Tesla. All it is seriously acknowledged. All his patents, yeah, they're genius. But free energy, wireless power transfer, no, that's rubbish. So this genius, you acknowledge him. Everything is good except that one. No, that wouldn't work. That's what they say. They say Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, oh, it wouldn't have worked. No, that doesn't work. You can't get energy through radio waves. But they do not understand what he was talking about. Tesla was not talking about transferring energy through radio waves. This was something else. He called it, well, I don't know what he called it, but they call it now scalar energy. Different type of energy. They don't recognize this or understand this. Now, I'm saying it's a different type of energy. There's only one energy, but it's not so much the energy that is being picked up. It's the origin of the energy. Again, I'll come back to this in a minute. But what it means is Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower has been dismissed because they don't understand it. It doesn't follow the accepted rules of physics. Just like this guy, Maxwell Chikumbutso. No, it doesn't follow the rules of physics. You can't have your patent. But because he hasn't got a patent, he's still trying to protect it. Now the way he protects his technology is through self-destruction. So if anyone cuts any of the wires or tries to take apart his box, the microchip will destroy itself. So no one can find out how it works. So that means, of course, if he wants to make money and if Africa wants to profit from this, they have to license it, we have to buy it from them, and we can't ever go in and look at it, see how it works. You just have to buy it from Africa. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Why not? If it's a one-off payment for a permanent free energy machine, that's all right. That's what Tesla was trying to do. One-off payment for $500, Tesla's domestic free energy machine. That was his last project. It never happened. That would have been fine. One-off payment, free energy for life. Yeah, fine, I'll have that. And of course, Maxwell Chikumbutso's machine is, there's no moving parts. It's a solid state generator, which is the ultimate holy grail in free energy. No moving parts, because a moving part means wear and tear. You will need replacement, servicing, etc. Solid state, no, don't need it. Now, I should also say, I've also seen old-fashioned. There have been electric cars 100 years. If you look into it, you can see pictures of them. And some of these electric cars travel up to 70 miles an hour, and they get 1,000 miles on a single charge. 100 years ago. That's better than now. And I've even seen a free energy car, again, maybe 100 years ago. I couldn't find the picture, but if you search for it, you could find it. It's a newspaper article, black and white, free energy car. And what they had in the front of it was a box. And on the box, there was two spheres, two balls coming out. So this design of a box with two balls coming out of it is like a battery, anode and a cathode. But this is a classic free energy design, two spheres. So we don't quite know how it works, but this again is to do with static electricity. And if you look at the old world technology, again, to do with electrostatics in buildings, they would have the fireplace. And in the fireplace, they would have these two balls, two metal spheres. Sculptural, nice, beautiful things, but they're solid metal and they'd have a ball in there. And there'd two of them be in the fireplace. So this would be to build up electrostatic energy. Then you could imagine if you move the two balls closer together or further apart, you would get a spark jumping across. So you could have some technology that you would put between these two balls and it would pick up the static electricity. You would be able to power some small electrical device, even a heater. But the building itself would charge this up. So the fireplace was metal, and even inside was metal all the way up. So nothing to do with fire. This is where the whole thing gets confusing. The fireplaces in these old world buildings were not to do with fire. They were to do with electrostatics and also heat circulation. That's where a lot of confusion arises. And we don't understand it. And the reason we don't understand it is because we do not understand ether physics, the ether. And we do not understand scalar energy. And I want to try and explain to you now how scalar energy works. Because this is what Maxwell Chikumbutso would be using. Now, imagine a battery. You've got a battery, and again, it's like this thing, two orbs with a box. Interestingly, it's the same as the Ark of the Covenant. I've done a video already explaining the Ark of the Covenant. It's a box with two things on it. It's an anode and a cathode. You have a spark jumping across. But it'd be a free energy battery. That's the Ark of the Covenant. So imagine you've got a battery. Now the only way you can get electricity out of the battery is by putting a wire across. And when you put a wire across, that energy is released. It runs out. And that's what we've got now. Electricity is generated and then transmitted through wires. And as it transmits through the wire, energy is slowly lost. And again, this is what Tesla said. Tesla's wireless power transfer would not lose any energy. It's the most efficient generator. The generator would provide the energy, but the substations or the items would pick up the energy, without any loss. It's quite incredible, far more efficient. Now, how could this possibly work? Well, let's go back to this analogy of a battery. Imagine you've got a battery and you want to power a light bulb, so you connect a wire to the battery. Okay, fine, you can understand that. But now you've got another light bulb over here, and you want to power this light bulb. How do you do it? Well, now you would create, let's say you create another battery, but it's not a battery now. This battery is a resonator. It resonates with this original battery. So over here you've got the generator, a real battery, and if you connect a wire to it, you've got a light. Over here you've got a resonant receiver. It's like a battery, but it's not a battery. It's a receiver that resonates with this original battery. Now to this receiver, you can connect a light bulb to it and it will light up. But this receiver will only receive energy because it is tuned. It resonates with this generator, this battery over here. So this is essentially scalar energy. It's not the transmission of radio waves. It's the emission of the radio waves. Let's look at it another way. You've got a radio station. A radio station here is pumping out radio waves. But what is that? What are radio waves? Well, they are a varying frequency. There's an oscillation. A radio station is pumping out various frequencies of energy. That's the information. And imagine you pumped out a very high frequency, a standing frequency of radio waves. Now Tesla would be doing this in the megahertz, high frequency. So he's pumping out high frequency radio waves over here. Now over here you've got the receiver. The receiver is not picking up the radio waves, it is picking up the initial frequency from the oscillator that creates the frequency. Okay, it's very difficult to explain this one. Let's go back once more. There's two things going on. In order to create electricity, you need a battery. That is a potential of energy. It's not energy, not yet, but it is potential energy, static. Now imagine you've got a battery that changes its potential. So you've got a vibrating battery like this. No energy is being released, it's just a battery. So imagine you've got a 10-volt battery, but it vibrates between 10 volts and 5 volts. So it's a 5-volt battery, a 10-volt battery, 5-volt battery, 10-volt battery, 5-volt battery, 10-volt battery. The battery is changing in frequency. But no energy is being released because there's no wires connecting to it. It's not electricity yet. It's not radio waves yet. It's the potential for energy that is changing. It's not the release of energy. It's the fundamental potential before the release of energy. So now you've got a vibrating battery, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt. But no energy is released. Now over here you have a receiver. And the receiver is matching that frequency, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt. But it's not a battery now, it's just a coil, a receiver that allows it to pick up this frequency of potential energy. Not energy, potential energy. Okay, this is where it's difficult to wrap your head around it. So now over here you've got a clone battery. It's not a battery, but it's a clone battery, a receiver that picks up the same frequency as this generator battery, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt. Then over here, 5 volt, 10 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt is picking it up. But again, no energy will be coming out of this receiver until we put a wire on it. So now if we put a wire on this receiver, which is only a frequency in potential energy, then that will convert to electricity. But because this is a receiver, it's not a battery, it's a receiver of this generator. And this generator is going on permanently. So this battery, this receiver, will go on permanently. So you will have permanent light coming out of this receiver battery because it's picking up the frequency of the potential energy of the generator. So scalar energy is not the transfer of radio waves, it's the transfer of the potential for radio waves. Okay, very difficult to wrap your head around this. I'll leave links below to another video which I've talked about scalar energy in more detail. But this is what I think Maxwell Chikumbutso is doing. He's talking about scalar energy. You're picking up the frequency of the potential, not the frequency of the after effect. In other words, the radio waves in the atmosphere is the after effect of the potential. We're not picking that up because that is lossy. You see, the radio waves go out, but it's energy dissipating through the atmosphere, and it gets less and less and less. It dissipates the further away you go. But the potential is static. That is scalar. That is always there. The potential is not lossy because it's not energy yet. It's not energy, it's potential energy. That is the ether. The ether is potentiality, not energy. Potential energy. You create a frequency in the potential for energy, then you create a resonator, a receiver that picks up that exact frequency for potential energy, not energy. Then you can release that potential on the receiver. Now what that means is, again, same in Tesla's physics, scalar energy, it means you can create different sized receivers. So if you can match the initial frequency, you can have a little receiver. So you can power your mobile phone. Or you can have a bigger receiver that will power your car. Or you can have a bigger receiver that creates a little substation of energy. It's to do with the frequency, but the frequency of change of the potential. Scalar. Not the frequency of the radio waves themselves. Not the energy in the wire. And that's what Tesla was talking about. So Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was nothing to do with radio waves. It was to do with scalar energy, which modern science has not acknowledged, does not understand, because potential energy is meaningless. That's nothing. What's that? They only see the evident manifest energy, the electricity. It's not electricity, it's the potential for electricity. That's the difference. And Tesla proved this because there was, of course, we all know this big battle between Tesla and Edison. Edison was trying to discredit Tesla because he's saying, oh, AC current is dangerous. But Tesla ultimately proved this. Tesla moved his AC current up to higher frequencies, and he called this impulse electricity. Impulse. Again, high frequency is the impulse for electricity, not the electricity. And he's going to high frequency megahertz. And he proved this, one of his last demonstrations. He proved his impulse electricity, and he proved that it was safe. He touched the thing and his whole body lit up like a neon light. He glowed like a plasma. So again, there's evidence of this. People have witnessed this, accounts of this. And the whole, it's like a magic show. But he proved that his electricity was safe because he could touch it. You could see the power because he lit up. Because it's not the release of electricity, it's the transfer of the potential for electricity. And that potential is what ionizes the air, creates the plasma. Do you see? So he called it impulse electricity. And it's a different thing to what we're using. And we're just ignoring it all. But of course we know that Tesla's patents, they were all stolen. Thousands of patents. Where are they? They're in the US somewhere. And interestingly enough, the scientist that took all of Tesla's patents, the US scientist, was the uncle of the new leader of the US. Let's call him Mr. T. Mr. T, the new leader, political leader of the US. His uncle was a physicist, a top scientist, in the government, and he was the one that was given the job of looking at Tesla's patents. And if there's a rare interviews, you can look him up and you've seen it, he says it. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff here. They're not going to admit what he's got, but they know there's some clever stuff here. So interestingly enough, the US has got all these patents, and now Mr. T and their administration are talking about free energy as well, talking about UFOs, higher levels of transport. So they're again starting to hint that they might release some free energy because they want to be the global leaders. And again, it's all for money, so they have to find some method of licensing it, making money. But it's the same as Maxwell Chikumbutso. He wants to do it for Africa. Fine. But again, maybe the US is bringing it out because they want to compete with Africa now. Who knows? But it's very interesting now, if we're going to have a race to the first people to release free energy, well, I mean, that's fine. Again, once you release it, everyone knows it's true. The first generation of free energy machines we might have to pay a lot of money for, maybe we've got to pay a license for. Yeah, that's fine. But it means generation 2, generation 3, soon we will all work out how it works and we'll all be able to build free energy machines. And this is the beauty of free energy machines. Once you understand the ether, the idea of potential for energy, not energy, potential energy, there are multiple ways of creating free energy. Many different ways. So thank you so much for listening. Do leave any questions or comments, and I hope to see you in any of these other videos here.